Gang, boys, how we doing? So,
Good.
the boy Anthony is going back to Iowa. The Kuhn is visiting Der Vaterland in Germany. So the same crew as last week. We did the Proust questionnaire with Zach, and it is going to be young Terrence's turn today. So without further ado, question number one: what is your idea of perfect happiness?
Idea of perfect happiness is complete freedom to wake up every day and be able to do kind of whatever you want, whenever you want, with whoever you want.
So basically, memeing Anthony Bourdain posts in a Hawaiian shirt in a pair of Vans.
Smoking weed and drinking rum.
Greatest fear.
Greatest fear? Probably disappointing people who believe in me and disappointing myself first and foremost.
What is the trait that you most deplore in yourself?
Procrastinate too fucking much.
That's the worst thing you deplore about yourself.
Yeah, because like it hinders my execution, and sometimes it hinders the quality of something I do because I'll wait till the last minute.
I wish procrastination was the worst thing about me.
I think that's probably one of the worst things if I hate the most about myself.
What's the trait that you most deplore in others?
Lack of self-awareness, for sure. Like I
Could you offer an example?
I have a very short span, like attention span for time. People who have zero self-awareness, like it just makes no sense to me how you could go through life and be so delusional about your importance in the world, who you are, what you think you do, the impact you do, the positive, negative impact you have on other people. Like people who are just self-aware just have no fucking time for it. Like their lack of self-awareness to me, it can negatively affect other people around them constantly, and they're so delusional about it. So that's why I think the most important other people.
I feel like it can be explained away very easily though, because I don't think anyone has a true understanding of the significance of their existence in the universe, but the closer you get to that, it must be a horrible existence to just realize like, oh, you don't matter whatsoever, and you're like a flicker in existence. So I feel like everyone's a star of their own movie.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it needs to be a balance. There needs to be a balance with some of that, but also a bit of realizing that, hey, like your job's not that important unless you're doing something truly meaningful and impactful in the world. There are people who suffer real actual problems, like you feeling like you got insulted by your boss or whatever. Say that to a child getting raised in the Congo. Like it's the fuck out of here. Like, or someone, it's like I said the other day, like on Twitter about, coaches have this idea that their job is so important. So like I have a friend that's job is to tell parents their child has cancer and then tries to make that kid like survive. It's like, that's an important job. Counting to 10 doesn't mean shit.
Which living person do you most admire?
Fuck, most people I admire are dead now.
I feel like we both admire Anthony Bourdain, but he is decisively dead.
Yeah. Living person I most admire. I mean, I put my mom up there. Like, I do definitely like admire my mother a lot. In some way, probably Mark Baker.
Yeah.
Guru Anaerobic on Twitter, just because I think that ability of just like I 100% do what I want 24/7.
Yeah.
Like I answer to no one, and like I will happily suffer the consequences of my decisions, but then know they're my decisions.
Yeah.
I think it's very few people who are just on that spectrum to that level, and that's like really cool. Because he does like 100% say and does whatever he wants all the time. There are things that he will say or do that I necessarily don't agree with, whatever, but like it doesn't matter because he does what he wants.
You know what I feel like the hidden benefit of that is when you have someone that doesn't need anything, doesn't answer to anyone, when they're nice to you or they do something for you, it means a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's kind of like somebody messaged me yesterday and he's like, oh, you know, thanks so much for, you know, saying whatever. I said something about something else. And I was like, well, it's not one. I don't really answer to anyone but immigration and the IRS. That's about it. So it's like, it's not really that big of a deal when you speak your mind when, it's not, you know, brave when you speak your mind, but I think it's like a lot of people, when they speak their mind, it's not that brave. It's just they don't answer to anyone. I'm more impressed when people who have everything to lose still stand up and say something. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so I'd say Mark Baker. I throw like Andre 3000 up there as well. Rick Rubin also. I throw those two up there. Like, it's because the level of like music and production things they've done. Andre 3000 specifically because to be on top of the world of music and like rap and stuff like that, and then to be willing to just be like, I'm not enjoying this anymore, or I feel like I don't have the creative drive anymore, or I'm tired of like dealing with the bullshit of every time I put out a song, people compare it to a song I did 20 years ago. Well, I'm not the same person. And to be like, no, I'm cool. Just like playing his like clarinet or whatever. And like he washes clothes at a laundromat. He goes to a laundromat. You know, he has 100,000 and rich as shit.
Yeah. That's pretty, I think Dr. Dre's like that as well. Like to sit on an album for the best part of 20 years and then be like, nah, not putting it out.
Yeah.
And obviously he, you know, he could hype that like to the moon and make millions and millions of dollars, but he's just like, no, I'm not putting it out. And, you know, here's the thing. I think I've heard him say, you know, The Chronic?
Yeah.
Chronic is like his seminal album. He's done now 4 albums. One of them was terrible. The other 3 were good. The Chronic is what he's most known for, but he only appears in like 3 or 4 of the songs in the entire album.
Yeah.
So he's like content to just do like the bare minimum of like putting himself out there and like releasing albums, like 4 albums in 30 years. But he's still a G.
Yeah.
What is your greatest extravagance?
Like currently?
Yeah. Current or previous? Current or previous? Is it the tats of the car?
It's probably. It's probably none of those. I'd say it's probably my pair of Air Jordan 1s shattered backboard. Not shattered backboards, but yeah, shattered backboards that I have. That like I wear like. I mean, I beat them up personally because like I'm from me wearing shoes, but they were only released. They've only been released twice, and I don't know how much they go for. Like dead stock, I think they go for like a couple grand. Dead stock, but like I wear them because I wear shoes, whatever. But like my car definitely up there. So I love that old thing. You know, that's like 180,000 miles on it now.
With the clamshell, original.
Yeah, with the Motorola and the center console.
My man's got the Boost Mobile in the center console.
What is your current state of mind?
Current state of mind is do the things that have the most positive impact on the people you like care about, and also enjoy what you do and focus on like what you can't control. Focus on the art, as Rick Rubin would say. Focus on the art, fuck everything else.
You know, he's like, I agree with you. I really like Rick Rubin, but apparently his like interpersonal manner, he's supposed to be a tremendous arsehole.
I can believe that. I feel like to get that level, it's kind of happen. You can't have everything, right? It's like Michael Jordan. It's like Michael Jordan's a dick. It's like you can't be a good person and be the greatest of all time and something.
I'll say about have you ever seen the video of Shangri-La, like the tour of Shangri-La Studios? He has impeccable taste. If he designed that, he has impeccable taste. It looks, I could love that.
Also, Quincy Jones seemed like he might be a pretty decent person. He's probably one of the best pure musicians of all time.
Have you watched the documentary?
We watched it at your house.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, bro. But here's the thing: I watched that documentary with a lot of people, so I couldn't remember.
Hey, we didn't watch it. We didn't watch it. We watched mystery stuff though.
Yeah, I'd say Quincy Jones. You'd have to ask his wives if he's a good person.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So we'll finish what your barometer of a good person is. So yeah.
And he made Rashida Jones. That's all that matters.
Tremendous. Bro, that's the thing. Like we would always ask the prospective interns, like, what would the people who don't like you say about you? And they'd be like, oh, I care too much about my athletes, or, I can be impatient. I'm like, you need to meet more women. Just because, if that's what women are saying about you, you're probably a liar or gay. You've not really.
All right, my answer to that question is same every time, that I'm an asshole. 100% an asshole. I will step over on you to get the job done because all I care about is getting the job done.
You motherfucker. Right. What do you consider the most overrated virtue?
Overrated virtue. Probably like maybe in some way loyalty, but in a different perspective. Like not loyalty for like friends and family. It's like loyalty to like your job, or loyalty to like your institution that pays you.
Yeah.
Because they would happily find someone else to do the job for less money. They would prefer to find someone else to do the job, even if it's a slightly lesser quality, for less money. Because in the day, you're selling your time. Like, so it comes down to the. So maybe in that perspective, yes, but probably the thing for sure probably overrated the most to me is like I think people oversell. People oversell hard work, because hard work, like working hard, is the minimum for anything. And so I think people just harp on that. So it's all, you gotta work hard. So a lot of people, I worked very hard as like playing basketball. I wasn't making the fucking NBA. I'm 5'10" on a good day. Like,
how tall is Muggsy Bogues?
It's 5'4", but fucking NBA back then was.
No. So are you TK? So you referring more to like blind loyalty, I guess, in the first part?
Yeah, I'd say it's probably more like blind loyalty. When you can't look at things like objectively to how they actually are in front of you, and how they're being presented to you, then I think it hinders your ability to make a logical decision.
On what occasion do you lie?
For the benefit of the good, the benefit of the group.
Silence or lies?
Ideally, if I can choose silence, I choose silence. But if I don't have the option, then I'll just lie.
I guess what some people they would call that a lie by omission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd be that thing of like, oh, well, you didn't say anything, so you knew, so it's still a lie. It's like, okay, sure.
It's tough because I feel like in any relationship, but professional relationships as well, I always feel like there's a limited number of conflicts that you can have before the relationship's broken. Because if you got a long enough memory, I'm like an elephant, long memory, massive cock. But I remember every conflict that I have with someone, and eventually it's just like, I've had 20 conflicts with this person. Then that's when the resentment starts to creep in. You're just like, fuck this person. You're not going to persevere with them. And I feel like navigating around that sometimes and avoiding a conflict can serve the relationship in the long term. But I just feel like if you're always like, oh, truth to power, no, this is wrong, and then you kind of like you're butting heads with people, you actually get to that point sooner. Or you get to that point where you might not have to, and then the relationship's lost forever. Yeah. And then you find yourself, beating last year's champions against Panasonic. You beat them by 20 points, and the head coach tries to shake your hand. You just fucking walk past him like he's invisible.
I think that's probably something. Something I definitely I've learned to navigate here. So I was being transparent. Like there were tons of conflict that, like as you all know, like in my current position, like between me and the coaching staff. And so now at that point, like I only engage in conflict if it's absolutely necessary for the betterment of the players. If it's not necessary, then like I turn a blind eye to it. So like it's not worth. I was telling someone it's not worth the energy it's going to take. Like I can move on from
it. Which living person do you? Oh no, which What do you most dislike about your appearance?
Most dislike about my appearance?
Yeah.
Just taller.
Which living person do you most despise?
Living person I most despise? Most federal government politicians.
Interesting. Any specifics?
Like specific person?
I don't answer. You're gonna get a fucking 3-letter agency knocking on your door. What is the quality you most like in a man?
Consistent.
And a woman?
Consistent. Consistent.
Opportunities.
Yeah.
Which words or phrases do you most overuse?
I see you working.
I mean,
I got a couple. I see you working. Working backwards is the other one.
Fuck, I use that.
You're just working backwards, dog.
Yeah, sorry. And Statadeki favor. Those are the three. I use all the
time. So, what or who is the greatest love of your life?
What's my greatest love of my life? I did have 2 cats in college that I fucking loved.
Yeah, what happened to them?
My ex has them now.
Bro, when I broke up with my ex and she got this sausage dog, fucking hell.
Yeah, two cats, Winston Churchill and Genghis Khan.
Interesting.
What's the Churchill? Because we picked up from a shelter, and I don't know why I just said Winston Churchill. I had to name was Churchill, and he wore had a bow tie collar and everything. And the other one, Genghis Khan, was because I left the apartment door open one day to grab the mail, and he sprinted into the apartment and never left. And I can't like them, so I was like, Invader, Genghis Khan.
Yeah. Not because he slung that much dick that 12.5% of all the males in Asia have DNA.
I mean, he was living in a parking lot in my apartment building before that. So, yeah.
Did you ever listen to is it Hardcore Histories with Dan Carlin?
Yeah.
And he talks about how Genghis Khan is
he changed the carbon footprint, something like that.
Yes, he killed that many people that you can see it in the carbon dating records of Asia. And they talk about all the stuff they used to do, like, they would roll into a city and they would drive the wagon past, and anyone whose head went over the axle of the wagon, they got beheaded. Sure. But what he talks about is basically time. It doesn't heal all wounds, but time changes the perspective that people are viewed. And he makes the argument in that, if you look at what Genghis Khan did, it's just as bad as what Hitler did in the 40s. But then if you were to ask somebody today as to rank people as to how evil they are and their significance to history and all that kind of stuff, Hitler's like, if somebody wants to throw you under the bus, they'll call you Hitler, not Genghis Khan. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Genghis Khan has a chain of restaurants named after him called Genghis Grill. I'm being serious. I mean,
never been to the Hitler Grill.
Yeah, it is Fuego. There's no Stalin bakery going around.
Hey, somebody don't let the fucking graybeard DeMayer hear that the Hitler Grill, or you'll have a shit fit. You'll have a shit fit.
Yeah, there's no General Mao chicken
Bro, the Cultural Revolution. That's another thing as well. I was listening to a podcast where it's Michael Malice, pretty interesting. But he talks about how the crimes of people on the left versus crimes of people on the right are not viewed the same. So Mao and Stalin resulted in way more deaths than the Holocaust, for example, but they're not considered to be on the same level as Hitler in terms of tyranny.
I wonder if some of that is more of a Western education thing too, though.
Yeah,
because we were so involved in World War II, and Russia was kind of an ally in that sense. I was most history taught in a U.S. until you get to college, unless you take like an Asian history class or like a specific history class. You don't really learn about it. Most people don't know who General Mao is. Like in the U.S., I would say. I think we took a poll. I think the majority of the population, like, I've never heard of that person.
Crazy. All right. When and where were you happiest?
When and where, I'd probably say 2017 to 2019. In London, probably.
Yeah.
It's probably when and where I was probably happiest. I think some of it was the fact that I like living in cities. Like, I like big cities.
Shredded out your mind, getting ass.
able to travel like super easy because you're more centrally located.
You're a king among men then. Which talent would you most like to have?
Art. I wish I could draw way better. I'm trying to learn to draw now, and I'm so shit.
Just throw any old random shit at the paper and just say it's abstract. Then you die, and then 50 years later, someone will pay millions for your works.
Contemporary art.
That's it, bro. Well, that Italian guy sold an invisible statue for 18 grand. What a fucking legend.
I mean,
I'll tell you this, I used to live, like, there's a bunch of us live together in university with a girl who did fine art at university. And there was one guy, so they do a final exhibit for their, like, basically to finish their degree, this final exhibit. And this one guy, his piece was walking around the other exhibits talking shit about people's work that had nothing to do with what it was about, and they gave him a fucking A.
It's amazing.
What a legend. If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
Change one thing about myself? I think, and like this is almost like a catch-22 because like I probably benefited from this factor a lot, but
yeah,
I wish I could enjoy the moment a bit more. I benefited definitely a lot in my career and probably even athletically because I did it. But sometimes I do wish that like I could sit in it for a second.
It's like musicians giving up drugs. They worry that if they give up the drugs, they won't be as good.
Yeah.
What do you consider your greatest achievement?
I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah, I can't.
If you were to die and come back as a person or a thing, what would it be?
Snow leopard in the Himalaya mountains.
I reckon to be an apex predator in a snowy mountain would be actually quite a miserable experience.
Stoic, that's for sure. Be very isolated.
Where would you most like to live? You fucking live some places.
Say it again.
Where would you most like to live?
Most like to live.
Tell the people who don't know the places you've lived.
Netherlands, South Africa, China, Korea. I mean, if we can count Japan, London, and I'd say country-wise. And in the U.S., Alaska, Georgia, New Jersey, Mississippi, Texas, Florida, Arkansas, Kansas City, Missouri, Arizona. I think I would like to live. I kind of feel like it's a place that's like really slow pace, maybe. Like I feel like a Vietnam or Thailand kind of be cool. Or even like I could probably do New Zealand, like if I'm not living in like the city or something, maybe.
I went to a place in India once where cars were banned, which is pretty interesting. It's pretty.
But in saying that, like I would 100% go back to London in a heartbeat and like just live there.
I fucking hated London when I lived there.
It's
a terrible place to be poor.
That's the thing. That's the weird part. Like, is that was the lowest point financially I ever was.
Yeah.
The lowest point. I don't know if it's the lowest point of my career or so early, But that was the point. That was probably one of the turning factors of like there was a where I was like, I may not want to do this. Because I definitely had been coaching for like two or 3 years. It was so much. Yeah, it was so much uncertainty at that point. Like I had to blow through all my little savings that I did have to afford to live there. I made enough money just to pay rent and like have go out once a week basically about it and fucking walk like. I want to say some like the struggle bus stories Twitter thread I was going on. As that I used to walk to Richmond from my apartment, not for like the get the steps up. We fuck kids coaching all day and like in class. It was purely just how I could save the £2 trip back and forth for the bus.
You know. What is your most treasured possession?
I don't know if I have one. Yeah, I don't know.
That's good.
Yeah, it's honestly it's probably my MacBook. Like I take it everywhere. Like I remember someone I worked with said that they travel without the laptop all the time, and I was like, what is wrong with you?
Huh?
Yeah. Even if I don't use it, I just always have it. I'm like, what if I want to use it? If I want to do something, so probably like my laptop.
Yeah. What do you regard as the lowest depth of misery?
Doing something you hate, being told what to do constantly, and having lack of control and freedom is probably the lowest depth of misery. So like having a job you turn up to but you don't enjoy in the slightest, working with people you don't want to be around, even if you do that, but say you have like time with your family, that can make it like worthwhile. But if you don't even have that, it's like, what are you doing it for? There's no amount of money that's can really make up for that.
I find it really like.
So in some way, I'm saying coaching for too damn long is probably low.
So where I'm from, there were two places. There were two big credit card buildings or like credit card businesses, and basically it was like, if you graduate college, you graduate school, you don't know what it is the fuck you want to do, you go and work at like Nationwide or wherever. And I could not get my head around it, because obviously it's like, that is just, you're in a booth on the phone all day long, and people you end up living for 5 p.m. You live for Friday through Sunday. But here's the thing, you need people like that.
100%.
I just couldn't be one of them.
When I go to the office here, the office is like, they have like cubicles and everything. I'm such a disruption to their day. Like when I go in, I'm like loud. I'm like, what's up, everybody? How the fuck y'all doing? I'm like playing music and shit. Like, I'm like, and to me, it's just really uncomfortable to be in such a like really controlled, quiet setting.
Yeah.
An extended period of time. That's part of the reason why I try to never go there unless I actually have to pick up something.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting next year, the way everyone kind of either chooses to return to normal or they don't. So there's so many businesses that have said, we're going to stay that way. We're going to go to a hybrid model and stuff like that. I think a lot of people, given the choice, would not go back to the office because they take back more control over their life, and they just end up being judged on the output rather than like someone watching the clock. Even though the College of William and Mary last year wanted self-reports of what you were doing every hour between the hours of 9 and 5.
I don't know. Like, I kind of think a lot of people would choose to go back to work because I think they like the stability, they like the routine and stability of it, of going in. But a lot of people, that's their only conversation with other people throughout. Once they go to church or something like that, or they have significant other, it's the people who talk to at work. It's like their friend.
That's a sad thing, though, right? Would you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people would actually choose to go. Because I have one friend who works in like real estate and like mortgage brokering and commercial real estate in Houston. They opened the office up back in, I think he said it was like in January, in the new year. He opened up, you allowed to come in 50%. And he said it became like I had to do a rotation of people, and most people want to go in.
Mm.
And he was like, I'm working from home. Like he has a son. He's like, my kid can play. They can be around my family.
Changes things.
So he stays working from home.
Yeah.
I'm not going back in the office. And the majority of people in his office like want to go back.
Bro, I do not want to go back to the school. Ugh. What is your favorite occupation?
I do enjoy coaching, but I think like designers, like fashion designers, artists, graphic design, like from like a freelance point of view, I think those jobs and stuff like that, those things like really interest me a lot.
Yeah. What is your most marked characteristic? Wait, Glover.
Most marked characteristic? I don't know.
It's gotta be that hair, bro.
Yeah, most people was fine by the
hair. Yeah. What do you most value in your friends?
Honesty. Not just honesty, like they never lie to you, but also they never lie to you about you. It's like if your friends can't call you out on like your bullshit, those are bad friends.
Yeah. Who are your favorite writers?
Favorite writers? Anthony Bourdain.
Yo.
Give me, I go Shane Parrish.
I really cannot listen to his podcast for too long because every time he says a boot, it really fucking breaks.
You've ruined that podcast for me now. He just has a boot and I'm just like, off it goes.
He always goes like, oh, let's unpack that. No, let's not.
No, let's double click on that.
Fuck me. Just get to the good stuff. Sorry.
But now I know this. I listen to it. I'm gonna hear it. And it's gonna annoy me now. I hate you guys so much. Maria Konnikova, another one. Maya Angelou.
Yeah. My mother likes her.
Maya Angelou or Maria Konnikova?
Maya Angelou.
Oh.
Yeah. She was an elective mute for quite a large chunk of her childhood.
Yeah, she was.
She got raped as a child. Am I making that up?
Yeah, so she got raped. She got raped or like abused. Told someone, that person wound up dead, and she was like 8 or 9, and so she thought her words killed people.
Yeah.
So yeah, she became a mute for like I think till she like 20 or something like that, 18. It was a long time.
Have you ever seen the video of Dave Chappelle meeting her?
Yes.
That's a hell of a video, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's she's on a talk show. I just saw this the other day, and someone called this lady asked her a question and said Maya, and she cuts her off. She goes, no. She's like, no, I'm not Maya. It's like it's Mrs. Angela. Like, Miss Angela. Like, I'm like, she's like, I'm not. She's like, I'm old enough to be a grandmother. Like, I'm not.
I'll come correct.
Yeah.
Who is your hero of fiction?
Hero of fiction. Oh man.
I don't read enough fiction for this.
Yeah, I mean, I always love Star Wars. So like, I always love Star Wars. I'm probably gonna say Aang from Uncle Iroh from Avatar. Boom. So I watched enough cartoons, anime. So Uncle Iroh from Avatar.
On the Star Wars thing, I just remembered a friend of mine has got an autograph photo of him with the midget that played R2-D2. He's like obsessed with Star Wars. And he went to the fan convention and met, I think his name's Kenny Baker, Google it. Which historical figure do you most identify with?
I don't know if always anyone I think I can identify with, but ones I really like pull out a stake in, I guess, to be like Malcolm X, Frederick Douglass, like my like 2 big ones that when reading the autobiographies or like biographies are like things I love to do.
What do you love the defiance about Malcolm X?
Yeah, I think the defiance would be the defiance and willing to like stick to the guns of it.
That's a badass photo of him with that AK, right?
Yeah, I would get that photo tattooed on me for sure.
I just find it's obviously impressive when he started out as a criminal, like a petty criminal, went to jail, all that kind of stuff. I find it's obviously a productive thing for society when people change their life. But then you look at like the route by which they achieve that. Like, I know your opinions on religion, and you think, you know, we've talked about this. Like, I find it really peculiar that the black population in America navigated towards the Nation of Islam, when Islam, because obviously it's rejection of the white Christ, rejection of slavery, but then Arab Muslims were the first people to have the slave trade in North Africa. That's bizarre.
I think this comes with like having a, not provocative, a leader people love. Like, people loved Elijah Muhammad.
Yeah.
I say this, I'm really probably get assassinated now. People love Elijah Muhammad. People love, they love Louis Farrakhan now. I refuse to call him doctor. It's like,
yeah,
get out of here. But so I think there's some of that fact, like people who are great speakers and leaders, similar to like how dictators come to power. People fall in love with the personality more than like they kind of take a blind eye to what they're actually saying.
You know, I find it like, well, we're getting into the weeds here, but like
even think about like Mandela, like when people say
he used to
I think it's like people will say like, oh, he's a murderer. It's like, yeah, it's like he definitely killed people 100%. He's 100% did those crimes. But then it's also like he came out of prison, realized that wasn't the best case for long-term change.
I was gonna say that, right? So
but
I don't think you get to today by just having Martin Luther Kings. I feel like you need those people, but then you also need like militant, forceful people that are, you know, any means necessary to advance their cause. I feel like that advances the cause. But now, if you look at like a Louis Farrakhan being like, oh, black people are going to have their own country, we're going to be separatists and blah, blah, blah. They may get you so far, but they're not going to get you to that just doesn't work in society. It's pretty double-edged sword.
I mean, there's a reason like Nelson, like when Nelson Mandela came out of prison, he had to basically kind of separate himself from Winnie. You know, he always said Winnie was his one true love, wasn't like his first life. But like Winnie was like still on, we're killing white people. Like, that was still very much her attitude when he came out of prison. And while he was in prison, that's kind of what they were doing, which is like, rightful or wrongly, you can see how someone would fully think that's the right way. When you see a bunch of children gunned down in front of a school, like that would definitely flip your mind to being like, this is the only way we could do it.
I was thinking about that the other day, because obviously the stuff with Israel and Palestine, the only way that it's gonna, not that I'm trying to solve the Middle East, but like my guess is the only way it's gonna get solved is by like some kind of like working relationship. But then I thought, oh, if it was me and somebody shot my kid, I'd be like, no, this person has to die.
Yeah.
It's fucked up. Nassim Taleb, actually, I think that it's probably stolen, but his thing is like, oh.
Is he Lebanese?
He's Lebanese, yeah.
Lebanese as well.
But he's I want to say he's Maronite Catholic, which Hani is actually. Hani is Palestinian, he's Maronite Catholic.
Yeah.
He says tall fences make good neighbors. So obviously, like having a two-state solution, say, oh, you know, if you want to live here, live here. If you want to live over there, but then also commerce. It's really hard to hate someone to the point of wanting to kill them and like just bomb the shit out of them when they're your biggest customer, for example.
Yeah.
So yeah, interesting. Who are your heroes in real life?
Heroes in real life. Did I be alive?
Let's do that.
Alive?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Why do I like so many dead people? I need to find someone like that.
Because they can't fall from grace.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Biggie might have put out like 5 more terrible fucking albums, but because you got those two albums. It's like, right, all time great.
Give me my mom definitely be up there. Mom's definitely like number one hero in that sense. I've always been a huge. I probably still thought Andre 3000 still be in there. I don't know if I would say Floyd Mayweather is a hero to me.
The thing is,
I think I idolize that level of commitment and consistency with something, like greatness in that sense. But I don't know if I'd ever say that person's like a hero.
You can admire heroic acts, but not heroic people.
Yeah.
This is the thing. Like, one of my literary heroes was Christopher Hitchens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's like the defiance thing, like the logic, and basically just like tying people in intellectual knots and being like, all right, fuck you.
Yeah.
But one of the things that he said was like he never had heroes, or he didn't want to create heroes because, one, it's not realistic, and two, you set yourself up for disappointment and the fall from grace and stuff like that. So it's more about the admiration of the message or the acts. Like Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King used to fuck around on his wife, but he's still revered for his acts, not those ones.
Yeah.
What are your favorite names?
Favorite names?
Yeah.
I don't know favorite names. So probably give me Tito. That's my drunk alter ego.
Yeah. I like also that you had a grandfather named Train.
Yeah. Give me Train my granddad with no legs. We can end this on a funny story. I have with him. I took him to the hospital for like his routine checkup. Summer, named my little sister. That was probably my little favorite names.
Okay.
All right.
Go on.
No, I was like, we have more questions. I said, I ended with the story.
Yeah. All right. What is it that you most dislike?
What was I most dislike? When people making decisions. I think what's the word this? It probably goes back to that delusion, self-awareness thing. Like, people have a lack of self-awareness, but their decisions due to that, like, negatively affect other people who depend on them. So it's probably like kind of ties that lack of self-awareness and delusion together.
Yeah, it's second order thinking, manifest behavior. Yeah. What is your greatest regret?
I'll be a little open here. I say probably ruining a relationship pretty early. Huh?
Just one?
I would say ruining a relationship like early in my career with someone like we were together for a while, and like I basically chose career over her. Well, it was the right or wrong decision. It's one of those things like there's no point looking back on it. You can't change it. But I said it's probably somebody I regretted it for a long time.
Hey, bro, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. It will come back around. Look at Bennifer. Look at Bennifer. Ben Affleck and J-Lo.
I was like,
I was lost too, so don't feel bad on that one.
20 years. They're back together. It's meant to be. Minus her 5 or so marriages in between. How would you like to die?
Bottle of rum deep on a patio, either overlooking the mountains or overlooking like the beach, and a short sleeve button down, wide open, with slippers on.
How are you? What is your motto?
I actually told this one to some of people I work with. If you're gonna dance with the devil, you might as well lead.
Fuck yeah.
And like originally, I would go. So originally, I would just say when it came to like partying.
Yeah.
But now I've kind of taken it to like, I think I personally expand out to like everything. Like whatever you see as like your devil or your demon is, like whether it's your job, whatever. It's like don't let it control you. You might as well fucking control it if you're gonna dance with it.
Lean into it. All right. What's the story?
So I was taking my granddad has no legs. Blood clot, like back-to-back years, took both legs. I take him to the doctor, like regular checkup, nothing crazy. And my aunt had given me a heads up, like sometimes he acts kind of like an ass to the doctor. I was like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "You'll see." Get there, they weigh him. The doctor's like, "Oh, train, like your weight's normal," and he goes, "I hope so. I'm fucking half a man." And I'm just like, "Oh my god." And then, but that was the end of it. Then like, oh, everything looks good. You know, blood pressure looks good. Or as like all your blood markers, everything's good. They're like, only things like trying to know you think should really. He's turning 80. He turns 80 this year. July 24th turns 80. He goes, I think you know you should probably stop smoking cigarettes. And he goes, "Doc, I've been smoking cigarettes since I was 13. Oh, I got no lids. It's not gonna kill me now." And I was just like, "That's fucking good." And the doctor's trying not to laugh, and the doctor's clearly uncomfortable because doesn't know what to say in this moment, and I'm fucking dying in the hospital room.
Bro, my granddad, he's 92, and he just got diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and it became apparent. One of the things that like tipped us off was he kept answering the door naked. And my mother's like, "Oh, that's obviously not normal behavior," and I was like, "Oh, fucking speak for yourself." The thing is, like, he did it like 3 times, and my mother's like, why are you answering the door naked?" He was like, "It's hot and I was having a nap." She just goes, "Open a fucking window." All right, plug for Team Builder. So through the remainder of June, we are giving away, as part of our promo, a year to Team Builder Gold valued at $800. Go on Team Builder, look at all the pricing and the features. It's got a ton of features. So anyone who signs up for a year membership, Strength Coach Network, using the code HOTBOY, all caps, HOTBOY, one word, as in Hotboy Summer, will go into the prize draw for that, and you get $50 off of annual membership. It's open to new members and anyone who's on a monthly who wants to upgrade. And yeah, go buy Team Builder if you're not going to do that. Cheers.